I just had a really simply powerful experience. I was feeling so tired this morning, like tired in my eyes. And I was feeling like I wouldn't be able to shake it all day. And I had taken my supplements, but I hadn't yet had my coffee, so I stopped at Tim Hortons for coffee and sat down at a table and had my binder out studying what I'm facilitating today. And there was this table of 4 men across the way. I had my headphones in and I had taken out my name tag for the group, and it was on the table. So I heard someone calling my name, and it was one of the men at the table across the way, and he just started making some small talk, talking about his knee surgery, asking what I was studying for, things like that. And after we talked for a couple minutes, even though the restaurant's loud and it was sort of, I should have really got up to talk to him because it was kind of yelling across the way a little bit. But after we stopped talking, that tiredness in my eyes was gone. So it shows the power of the nutrient of human connection. And lately I feel sort of like I don't like living by myself. Like I want to live around a bunch of like-minded people and not alone. And it's not about loneliness. It's about this fact of the nutrition, the power of this human connection, the light coming out of someone's eyes. So he was being friendly, and that friendliness changed the way my eyes feel. And I think a lot of this stuff has to do with the eyes, like when we can't fall asleep, or when we don't feel awake, or it's this change in the eyes, and it's really the power of another pair of human eyes that can really change that more than any coffee or molecule or anything. And I was really shown that this morning, and that's why it's so interesting to live daily life and learn something as simple as that. It's so obvious, but it was so marked, the change. Like now my eyes feel completely fine. So yeah, is this a friendly universe? And when it is, it leads to that wakefulness. And I gotta go see my doctor now. Hopefully she'll give me a bit more Zopicone, talking about sleep, and 3 months prescription for when I go, and hopefully I won't have to see her before I go again. I don't want to. And then I'll be off and stuff like that. And I have more to talk about, but I gotta drive now. Yesterday I used that CBD cream on the back of my head during the day, and I felt like I could do stuff that I needed to do better without thinking about it, like just some stuff I'm behind on the computer. And I had to write an email about something advocating for myself, and just different things. It seemed to go a little more smoothly, and then I had quite vivid dreams in the night. And I felt like I slept well. I was sleeping and dreaming, not dreaming awake. And I slept for 11 hours, which is good. I went to sleep around 10:30. So I've been sleeping about 10 or 11 hours, which is, it seems like I need right now. It'd be nice to figure out how to need about 8 hours sleep. And the other day I learned about something called quinine, which is a substance, a chemical in tonic water. And I heard about it through an article of someone who was talking about recovering from drug addiction, and taking tonic water helps because of the quinine, and it helps to get something across the blood-brain barrier. So I was looking into it a little bit, and there's a little bit of information on Wikipedia that is interesting. And it's kind of a banned substance now. It was used for malaria, but now they have other drugs, and they're saying that the quinine is toxic, whereas the drugs eliminate a lot of the toxic side effects, which who knows, like usually they just say something natural is toxic so they can patent their drugs and make everyone afraid of the natural stuff that can't be patented. And then I found a product on Vitacost that has quinine in it. There's another name for it, which I have to look up, and it's sort of like a homeopathic remedy. It's for restless legs, but I'm going to see if I can get some tonic water and something else to see, maybe that restless leg stuff, to see if it, like what kind of effect it has. Just curious, like usual. Success! I got a prescription for 3 months of medication at the same time from my doctor, and she also gave me 30 more days of Zopiclone, which is great because I only take half or a quarter, so that's really like 4 months worth, or 2 to 4 months worth. I've only been taking half, so that could last me a long time. So that's good to know that I have those extra days of sleep until I try to retrain my brain to fall asleep. I submitted a video review to Steve Pavlina for his Abundance Deep Dive class because he asked for video reviews if people wanted to. And since I make videos, I did that. And he said he watched it and he liked my feedback and he liked one of my ideas. So that's cool. And the challenge I'm doing now for when I eat at restaurants is to eat healthier food. I went to Mucho Burrito yesterday and I had a burrito bowl with quinoa, so I didn't have the burrito wrap or rice. And for me, I'm trying to avoid at restaurants foods that are fortified with folic acid. Surprise, surprise, food is fortified with something that's not good for us. And I take methylfolate and folic acid. It actually interferes with folate metabolism. I think I learned this from Dr. Mercola. I'm not surprised. I would think that anything that is mass fortified in things in general isn't good for us, possibly. I'm not sure about vitamin D in milk. I think milk isn't a healthy product, so to put vitamin D in it, I don't think really makes it good. So yeah, and today I had freshie and I had a bowl instead of a burrito, and I had a bowl with quinoa. So that's where I'm at so far today. I'm at the park and I went to the health food store and thought I would try a different kind of lemon ginger kombucha, and this one's quite vinegary. I also got some goji berries because these really help with digestion for me, I've found in the past. Plus it makes a good snack for work. And I also found 4 different kinds of tonic water that are health food store brand worthy. So I'll show those later and I'll try them after I refrigerate them. And it actually says on the ingredients, quinine sulfate. So it's interesting, and I'm going to watch to see if it affects my sore muscles after rollerblading and playing ultimate frisbee. My muscles really hurt, out of shape, so we'll see if it has any effect on that. And then that might affect my decision on whether I buy that leg cramp vitamin from Vitacost. I'm just curious in this whole something going across the blood-brain barrier thing, and modulating the mind with healthy things. I'm just going to enjoy some fresh air and the sound of someone blowing leaves. I'm noticing how many different shades of green and brown the grass is. One other thing I wanted to say about that man talking to me at Tim Hortons was before he started talking to me, we did meet eyes twice and I smiled. So kind of gave him permission to speak to me, and then he energized me by his friendliness.
What are you doing outside my door, little froggy? What are you doing there? This doesn't look like a place for froggies. Oh. Walked out my door and I totally spotted him. I always spot life in interesting places. I think there's some spider web on your foot. There. I don't know if that was bothering you or not. Oh. No, don't go in the spider web, froggy. Aw. Sorry if I made you hide.
This could be my last joyride in my little old car. I insured it for the day because somebody might want to buy it. They want to test drive it. So I'm going to take it for a little stroll. Just took my old car for a spin and it was so fun. I love that old thing. I don't know why. It's just so fun to drive. I kind of want to keep it. I could drive that thing again for another 6 months and then get a discount on a Tesla.
Here are the tonic waters that I bought, and I'm gonna try one today. I think I'll try this one. And I'll show you the ingredients.
So this one has water, cane sugar, white grape juice, citric acid, bitter orange peel, lime peel, orange peel, sodium benzoate, and quinine sulfate. So there's the quinine sulfate. And I looked it up the other day on Wikipedia, and it's also called chinium sulfuricum as a homeopathic, I think. And it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting bits, but the one that a few things that struck me, not that important, but one is that it can reduce shivering due to low temperatures. And sometimes I feel like I have really low body temperature. Something else that struck me was It says, because of its relatively constant and well-known fluorescence quantum yield, quinine is used in photochemistry as a common fluorescence standard. So the thing that made it that interesting for me is that I think like light and fluorescence and glowing has something to do with light in the brain. And I think this whole thing that I talk about with myself has something to do with light in the brain. And it talked about something about how this quinine molecule gets surrounded by calcium or something and then goes into like a cell or a neuron and then releases calcium, which causes the sodium potassium pump to go off or something. Like and it almost has like a quantum effect. I'm just making this up, I don't know for sure, but it just seems like an interesting little clue. So today I put some CBD oil on my face and my neck and the back of my neck. I'm just reading a little bit of the patent my friend sent me about the CBD cream stuff, and the acronym is BONATH, for back of the neck at the hairline. And the patent's talking about caryophyllene and how it's a medical component of like the marijuana plant, and it's legal. And it says something about helping diseases of oxidative stress. I haven't thought about oxidative stress in a long time, but one book that I have and something that I followed years ago that talks a lot about it, and it really worked to make me feel better, was Dr. Matson's Eating Alive 2 book, his Eating Alive program. And that pretty much cured me from chronic fatigue. 5 years of chronic fatigue. After following his thing for 4 months, I felt 85% better. So there's something to the whole oxidative stress thing, which his program helps, and I'm sure eating raw vegan and whole plant foods helps with it too. And I happened to look through the Self-Decode website. I still have my 1-year subscription, but I'm canceling it after this year. Maybe I would go on it again one day. It just has a ton of information. And I am starting to read a bit of a book called Dirty Genes. I have some books that I've bought recently on Kindle, but I haven't gotten to reading them yet. One is Dirty Genes, one is Mind to Matter. I started reading that today. It's really interesting. And another one is The Spell of the Sensuous. But anyway, I was looking quickly on the gene page for Self-Decode for somebody else for one of their conditions, and then I looked through my SNPs, again, single nucleotide polymorphisms, and I was just scrolling through and I came across COMT, C-O-M-T, and this is one of the dirty genes that is mentioned as being important in the Dirty Genes book. They talk about MTHFR, which I don't have a SNP in, which many people with bipolar do, but I don't. And that was the main reason I did the genetic testing and different things to find out, and I don't have that one. And it talks about, I think, COX1 and 2, the gene DAO, COMT. Anyway, there are a few main ones that the book Dirty Genes talks about. And so I quickly looked for all those genes to see if I have a SNP in them, because the book would say, oh, you don't even need to do the genetic testing, just do the Dirty Genes cleaning protocol and it'll clean up these main genes. But I looked and I only have a SNP in COMT of the main ones in the book Dirty Genes. And I was reading through some of what it says on the Self-Decode website, and it's pretty interesting. It talks about, and a lot of the genes say a lot of different things that could conflict, but I'm looking at this one because it is talked about as a main gene in the book, Dirty Genes. And so it talks about more pleasure out of life. So AA, which is what I have as a SNP, reported feeling twice as positive emotion towards a pleasant event than GGs. GG subjectively viewed a very pleasurable event on the same level that AA would view a slightly pleasurable event. So this could explain a little bit. I'm just pointing out that it could relate to why I get so excited just seeing a little frog outside my door. And maybe I saved the frog by poking at him because he went around the corner on the siding, and then there was this huge hailstorm, which if he was still sitting on the outside of the door and it started, it could have killed him. So I was thinking it was bad of me to poke him, but maybe I saved his life. And then it says AA. Oh, there's a lightning. This is more creative. Divergent thinking fluency. That was weird. The thunder went and my arm did this like twitchy thing that didn't even, felt weird. So the effect was quite large for the more pleasure out of life thing. Better reading comprehension, blah, blah, blah. And it says better cognitive functioning when not under stress. Better attention and processing of information. So that's interesting that here they call executive function attention and processing of information. I need to write that down. And more exploratory, better response to placebos, higher cognitive stability, but comparatively low cognitive flexibility. Increased verbal fluency for males, but decreased for females. Better fine motor skills, better ability to aim. I have pretty good aim. Better absorption of tea polyphenols. Ooh. Lower risk for alcoholism. Yeah, I'm done with that. Worse handling of stress or pain. So it says researchers found when viewing unpleasant pictures, the startle response for women with AA was 6 times stronger compared to those with only 1A. So that could explain my real intolerance to like scary, awful stuff and not wanting to watch the news. Lower emotional resilience, more negative emotions, less able to handle negative events well. More impulsive, more depression, less cooperative, helpful, and empathic. Ooh, I try. Less extroverted, more neurotic, higher homocysteine. That's something I used to pay attention to. I did get a homocysteine level test once, and it was quite high. I think it's B12 that brings down homocysteine levels, but I kind of want to look into that. I can't remember what it does. I used to know, but it's an interesting one to look at. And higher sensitivity to mercury. Now this one's interesting. It says higher sensitivity to mercury, and I think years ago when I did Dr. Matson's program, a lot of it was about chelating mercury out of the body. And I had a lot of mercury in my body. I had a chelation test, yet I never ate fish. And I did a lot of research years ago to find out where that could have come from. Could have come from a paper mill that I worked at. Could have come from all the Dove soap that I was using that has mercury in it. And it could have come from vaccines, of course. So I think, yeah. So that's just a little bit. There's so much information on the self-decode site. But since I was on there looking for information for someone else, I thought to just glance through the genes. And since COMT is really important in the Dirty Genes book, then I'll probably read through the COMT section to see what it says. And yeah, so that's interesting. And today, I think I already said I put the CBD cream on my face and neck, and I'm finding that I don't know if it's that, but I did it the other day too, and I found myself more able to read on the computer. So I'm doing this experiment of utilizing it during the day and seeing what happens, and I think I notice an effect. And somebody's coming to test drive my car in an hour and 15 minutes, so hopefully this thunder and lightning stops. So I'm going to try this tonic water. I don't really know if I'll notice a difference. My stomach has been bothering me a bit still lately. I'm going to eat some goji berries later. Gotta open this. I wanted to try this one because I think it's sparkling, and I don't know if those ones in the bottles are. Oh, it's kind of weird. It's a double rainbow. Don't know if I've ever seen one before. Look at that. I knew there'd be a rainbow. Never seen a rainbow like that before. Oh man, it's the whole thing. Look at that. It's so awesome. That is the most cool rainbow I've ever seen in my entire life. It used to be full on across. You can still kind of see it. And it was a double rainbow too. Well, it is a double rainbow. And it's got just so much right there. That right here. So many bands. So cool. What a magical day. Picking up some kind of like white lines coming down from the rainbow in my eyes. I don't know if you can see that too. Oh, I sold my baby car. I miss her already. So sad. It's okay. I do have a better car now, but I like the old car smell. And it's really fun to drive, so I'm glad I took it for one last nostalgic test drive.